Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
I'm sure no one will mind.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual slavery.
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing, nutters, messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome, everybody, to the 468th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse. We're down a couple of people. With me today, Andy Patterson and Steve Wellings. Much like the people of Kharkiv, we're down some folks, but we're still fighting valiantly, Steve. You know, that's how we roll over here at the Boxing Asylum.
Perfect comparison, in my opinion, Matty.
Yes, I can. I definitely put our valor up at the level of the Ukrainian people. We are.
There's levels to this shit. There's us and there's them.
Yeah, we were admirable in some respects, but compare and contrast. I was comparing and contrasting the different cards we had to choose from to start this week. Scratching my head as in, well, which one matters most, and not much of anything. So I'm going to come stateside last night to the Puerto Rican trio event put on by Top Rank, headlined by Edgar Berlanga, also Xander Zayas on that, and John Bauza. Like kind of saying that one because it sounds like a mobster, playing Super Mario. I was playing Mario, but then I couldn't get back that fucking Bowser. I kind of like his name. But anyways, Andy, Edgar Berlanga, this dude's lacking, man. I didn't even get to see the whole damn fight because all these cards went long, and I set my recording to last 30 minutes longer than the 2 hours it was scheduled for, and I still only got 4 rounds of this fight. But from everything I've been able to glean from it, and what I saw, there's something with Berlanga. He loads up too much. He doesn't have much of he's not a dynamic fighter. He blew those guys out early somehow, some way. The more and more we watch him, they must have just been shit. He doesn't excite me, man. Feed him to Benavides. The sooner the better.
Well, if that's the way you feel, mate, but I do agree with you to a point. That was probably his worst outing that I've seen him, and I'm not going to say I've watched his entire career, but I've seen probably the last 4 or 5 fights. I think the guy Bellows was meant to give him, a proper test, smashed him out. Probably one of these fighters that's fell in love with his power, but as I say, this was his worst outing to date. He was very slow-footed, very, very tight, I thought. The jab was pretty much non-existent. The combination punching wasn't exactly great, if there was anything. I just didn't see, as you say, I just don't see the improvements in him. Certainly in his boxing, certainly in his footwork. Needs to get up his game a bit, maybe change trainers. I don't know what situations with his camp or whatever, and that, but it's he's got to stop looking for these knockouts. He's got to stop looking just to try and walk into distance and throw heavy shots and just hoping to get the guy out there with one big punch.
He doesn't know how to cut off the ring.
Yeah, there's that as well.
Just too predictable.
Yeah, you need to double up on that jab. At least throw it once, or double up on it, or triple it up, and then get the combination moving, then get the feet working. But it's it's not great. And it says if he's like highly ranked with some of the bodies, top 5, top 6, he's going to come a cropper at some point once he goes up in class. And as I say, I know the Alvarez fight's miles behind, but just take the Khalid Plant fight, for example. Plant might give him fucking fits the entire fight if that was ever happen. So certainly needs to kind of up his game a wee bit, because this walking at distance and just throwing, home run shots basically, that's just not going to work as you got the levels. You need to be able to vary it up. And to be honest with you, over the last few fights, I just haven't seen it. I think his last fight was pretty poor. And this wasn't exactly great either, to be honest. As I say, it was his worst fight that I've seen, to be honest with you. So, improvements needed.
Steve, based on that performance last night, do you think that Arum is still going to invest more into Berlanga, wanting some of that big Puerto Rican money that he knows can come in? Or do you think that maybe he's seeing the writing on the wall and he's going to cash him out sooner rather than later?
Well, he's not going to invest too much money in him if he's got any sense, I wouldn't have thought. The matchmaker's going to have to earn his corn when it comes to Edgar Berlanga. They have a problem with him, I think, because whenever he was going on that knockout streak, he had a bit of a purpose about him. He was knocking people out. ESPN were loving it. Everybody thought this was great. He had all the power. But now they're moving him up in levels against better opponents. He just looks like a static plodder to me. One-dimensional, devoid of imagination, as Andy said, couldn't cut off the ring. I think they should just let him off the leash and let him bang away, see what happens. If he gasses out, he might knock somebody out at a decent level. Just let him throw the big shots and forget about this trying to box business. They said he was a bit of a boxer as an amateur, but it's just not going to work for him. There was a concerning graphic they put up before the fight. Well, I mean, concerning within the context of Berlanga's career. He's been a pro for 1 month shy of 6 years, 5 years and 11 months, and he's only fought 34 rounds. Nearly 6 years, he's fought 34 rounds. And I wonder what cost this KO gimmick is going to be to his overall progression. It's going to be detrimental to him. Steve Rolls, he did okay. We saw what he was like before against Golovkin. He's got a decent jab. He invested a little bit of work to the body, but he tired down the stretch of what is a 10-round fight, effectively. And you have to think that a decent fighter will just demolish Berlanga when he steps up. We saw Caceres kind of not mess him around a bit, found the gaps, hit him with a decent shot, dropped him in that last fight. Demon Nicholson took him the 8 rounds, I think it was, or the 10 rounds, got knocked down a few times. As soon as that KO streak gimmick disappeared, then every hope for me for Berlanga disappeared as well. If they want to put him in against someone like Benavidez, I think he'll just get wasted. And as for the training situation, Andy mentioned that I was only half watching it because I was cooking the dinner at the time, but they seem to have, rather than just Rosier in the corner, they had 3 trainers. Was it Mickey Bay was there? This Kei Karoma, whoever that is, was hanging around. Was he in the corner as well? There was 3 guys talking to him all at once. You had Bazile, Mike Basil, the cutsman, trying to deal with the cut. And you got all these different voices coming from all different angles, bombarding him with information. Maybe that was a factor in his performance, but I just don't think he's got it. Don't want to shit on him too soon, but maybe I should shit on him because I've heard behind the scenes that he's been a bit of an arsehole. Can't really substantiate that, but in the ring, let him wail away, man. 3 or 4 rounds. Let him bang people out and see how we get on, because this boxing isn't working for me. It's not exciting me anymore. And that was a dangerously concerning performance against Rolls as far as his long career projections are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a limit, but you kind of have something about you where you can get people out of there early if you go at it, fucking blow your load in 4 or 5 rounds, whatever, win, lose, be entertaining. There's plenty of money to be made there. So we'll see what happens with him next. I'd just like to see him get fed to Benavidez, but we'll see what happens with that one. Further down the card, I'm going to go to this one first. John Bauza getting, I think he could have gotten a draw legitimately, but getting the unanimous decision over Tony Lewis. Lewis coming forward and really making Bauza work, making him very ineffective in the later rounds. Early on, Bauza did good, landing some good shots, landing a few good uppercuts here and there. But, Andy, I don't know if you caught this one or not.
No, mate, I've never seen any of the cards at all. I've seen the main events on the 2 American shows.
Cool. Steve, you saw this one, though?
I did, yeah. Just to confirm, did you think that this could possibly been a draw? Did you think?
I thought that you could have given Lewis the last 4 rounds, probably.
I'm not so sure now, to be honest. I thought Bowser looked decent. I was impressed from what I saw about him.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought he picked his shots really nicely. He was in against a decent opponent there, former pod friend Tony Featherfist Luis, who Gabe once called time on his power back on this very podcast. He came forward as the fight went on. Do you not remember that? You went on, were you, Matty? When Gabe
I don't
asked
think
him why
so.
he was such a light
I gotta
puncher?
find that one.
Yeah, I can't remember. But his manager had emailed me and asked me to get Tony on, but he never came near us again since. But he put in a good, honest effort. I thought John Bowser looked okay to me. I thought he used the jab well. He used the hooks well. Picked off Luis early coming in. Tired a little bit as the fight went on. But as Luis took more risks, I thought Bowser landed a few decent shots. And I'd be interested in seeing him fight again. I actually thought he looked okay from what I saw. But I'm interested to hear that you saw things a little bit differently.
I just didn't think that I thought that when the pressure came on him, he was looking for answers. He didn't do a whole lot. He let himself get crowded into the corners. And if Lewis was a bigger puncher, going back to Gabe's very respectful question there, I think that he would have been in a lot of trouble right there. I just there's something about him that's just that little bit that seems like when it comes time that he's going to have to man up, I don't think he will. I just got that vibe off of him.
Well, this was a decent enough step up, I thought, at this stage of his career.
Great step up, yes.
Yeah, 16-17-0. Luis has been there before. I remember him fighting Derry Matthews a few years ago. And he's a good, honest fighter, Tony Luis. A lot of experience, even though he lacks that bit of punching power. And if it had been a 10-rounder, then yeah, I think it could have been interesting. But I like what I see from Bowser. I'd be interested to see more. He's only 23. Calls himself El Terrible, like the great Eric Morales, who I think he's actually fighting next week in an exhibition against Orlando Salido. So he's got a big nickname to live up to there.
Yeah, very big nickname. I wonder how big he is right now and how big Salido might be after actually. It's shocking. Like Salido, never officially retired, did he, Steve? He just kind of just quit fighting.
Yeah, God. He was working on the construction sites and stuff, but on the weight situation, goodness knows what weight it's going to be. Because last time I saw Eric Morales floating about, he didn't look like in any reasonable fighting shape. He's gone on the Fernando Vargas diet.
Yeah, the only place he's going to be floating is with a lot of salt density. But I'll tell you though, Steve, my pick. If you're going to say out of that card, who do you think is the next big Puerto Rican star if you had to pick one?
Oh, it's got to be
Xander Zayas.
Yeah, it's got to be Zayas. I only saw the three main fights. I didn't see any of the undercard fights, so I can't vouch for any Puerto Rican action down there. But this Zayas, I've heard his name before, as I've mentioned in the past. These prospects kind of all meld themselves together, and then they slowly separate for me. And I'm starting to see Xander Zayas as his own person now. He's only 19, 13-0. He put a beating on this guy, and respect to Quincy Lavallée, because he took his beatings. They said before he'd never been stopped. And in that
never been dropped either, pro or amateur.
That second or third round, I thought he was really starting to take it. But Zayas looks a real prospect to me. Very skilled, throws hard to the head, to the body. On the inside, he picks his punches well from the distance. And on the inside, Andre Ward liked his inside work as well. Lavallée, tough as old boots, soaked up the punishment. Looking forward to seeing how he progresses at 19. He's one of the better prospects I've seen. Now, to him and Bowser, definitely Zayas for me. I think he looks brilliant.
And it was a very mature performance for a 19-year-old. The patience, the shot selection, all of that stuff was light years ahead of his age.
Yeah. No, I think so on the inside as well. That's what I say. He was tapping to the body, slipping and sliding. He seemed to have a few veteran moves about him. Not sure about his background or who's training him. I was just watching him on the eye test against this guy, and he looks the real deal. They've got some good prospects coming through, haven't they? Top rank, obviously, Duke Rage and Keyshawn Davis. There's quite a few decent fighters. Old Bob's still kicking.
Yeah, there's a few going through, and I think that you have to have these cards to be able to kind of start separating them out and giving them a chance to shine. And some of them do and some of them don't. The gold star for that one definitely goes to Xander Zayas, though, bar none. I'm excited about that kid. It's rare to get excited about someone so young, because usually there's so many glaring deficiencies at that age. And he doesn't have many.
The Jimmy Savile years.
Did you? How much of the DAZN card did you guys catch from yesterday?
I only seen the main event, mate. To be honest with you, I forget who was the main event again. Was it McKinson?
No, the main event in that one ended up being
Cobbs.
Alexis Rocha and
that's the one I seen
in the 9th. That was a good performance from the one lost Rocha.
That was a fun scrap.
Beat him down, yeah.
That was a really fun scrap, actually. To be honest with you, Rocha, Cobbs I thought he was very kind of overconfident a wee bit. Then he got tagged. Was it the 5th? I think he got badly hurt or staggered in the 5th.
Yeah, it was the 5th, Andy.
Yeah, and then I think that was it after it because he got dropped in the 6th, so possibly he hurt again in the 6th. But the ending was pretty. Yeah, I'm going to say that the stoppage could have went a wee bit longer, I think. But I think the way it was going, he was going to end up getting knocked out, to be honest with you, because he got caught very good with that right hook. Wasn't really kind of catching anything back, to be honest with you. So if I can maybe left another 10 seconds, I think he would have been. See, I'm not a big fan of these stoppages on the ropes, but I like to see it, conclusive, to be honest, because he was trying to punch back. You could see him trying to kind of like throw some sort of shimmy punches to the referee's body. I don't know if he was just at it there, to be honest with you, but fun scrap. Cobbs can come again. He's got a good character, I think, but I'm not too sure about Roach in his corner anymore, to be honest with you. I think Roach is finished as a trainer, to be honest with you. Fair play to Rocha as well. Really good fighter. I think it was a very well matched fight, to be honest with 50-50. That guy's be kind of humble in that as well. But Cobbs, I'm not against his trash talk. We need some kind of characters in the sport. So as it says, even though he's took an L there, it's not the end of the world in that, because your career can't be basically hinged on one defeat. So he can definitely come again. Jade can't.
Yeah, that was a pretty wicked end for Cobbs towards the end there. The last couple rounds, he just started getting waylaid. Further down that card, in a fight where nobody got waylaid, Steve, Michael McKinson taking unanimous decision over Alex Martin, being forced to be the aggressor in this fight. And there just wasn't much aggressive about it. Martin maybe nipped off a few rounds, but McKinson carries on undefeated, looking like Virgil Ortiz will be going up to 154 from what Bernard Hopkins had to say last night. Where does McKinson go from here? Just move into a different eliminator and keep going up that ladder?
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's a shame he didn't get his big opportunity. We said last week that we thought he would give his all, and I'm glad they kept him on the card. They could have easily got rid of him, but they didn't. They gave him his opportunity, and yeah, I'd like to see him in some kind of eliminator. I noticed the crowd were booing throughout the first round of the fight beforehand, the Melakuziev fight, whoever he was fighting. I can't remember. And I was thinking to myself, you're booing now with Melakuziev in the ring. Wait till you see Michael McKinson out there. And that's just the type of fighter he is. He's not a big banger. He took a few cheap shots early on from Alex Martin. He was trying to push forward, though. That's why. He tried to take a few chances, I think, to appear to be a little bit more exciting. First and foremost, we all know what Michael McKinson is. He's a boxer, bit of a spoiler at times. He's not a big banger, but he has a style that works for him, and it gets results. It's effective. He's effective at diffusing the opposition, and it does generally work. There's no need to please the bloodthirsty masses. He got his big opportunity. He got his 10-rounder out there, and I'd like to see him given another chance. It's not going to be against Ortiz. We know he struggles to make weight, and he's got this unpronounceable kind of illness going on, so he's going to have to move up in weight and let McKinson and somebody else fight it out below him. He's got the wins. He's earned his opportunity, and he's had 21 now, 22 wins, so that's just the way it was. But I saw Melakuziev, and you could see why they elevated Blair Cobbs and Alexis Rocha to the main event. I will say that, because once Ortiz was withdrawn, it made sense, because they knew the type of fight McKinson was going to bring to the table. Against Ortiz, it was different, because he was going in against the name, an exciting puncher. But as soon as he was withdrawn and McKinson was there to lead, to be the kind of main event and the main name, they knew that he wasn't able to carry that. So they moved Rocha and Blair Cobbs to the main portion of it. And Cobbs, he's always been a bit of a character. Came out with some wrestling guy with him, calling out Jerron Ennis beforehand. He has no business being in that kind of company, but he was snarling away. He wanted to get stuck in, and Andy picked up on something. Actually, that was the point I was trying to come to. Andy was picked up on something that I was going to mention. Freddie Roach in Cobbs' corner. he really wasn't sounding great to me, old Freddie. I know this isn't news to anybody, but Cobbs was having to lean right in to hear his messages. I know that the sound and the noise of the crowd could have been playing a part in this as well, but Freddie's speech was really badly slurred. He was very stationary. You have to wonder how much longer he has in this game at that kind of highest level. I know he's become a bit of a gun for hire, and as long as he can communicate the years of experience across to his fighters, that's great. But I was really concerned about Freddie and his kind of performance last night in Cobbs' corner. There's not really much he could have done to change the outcome. But yeah, he didn't look great to me. Cobbs, Rocha, he was a bit like a cut-price Virgil Ortiz, let alone Victor Ortiz rather than a Virgil Ortiz. He had Cobbs in bother in the 5th round, like Andy said, rocking his head back and forward. The crowd sounded great. They were absolutely loving it. And Cobbs' head, it flies in the air. His chin's open. He's always invited for that big shot. He's not a puncher, but he fights like one. And it was just getting one-sided towards the end. I don't like the shots, the stoppages on the ropes either, but the doctor was having a look at them saying, look, how much more of this do you want to take? Don't know whether Freddie was ready to pull him out or not, but in the end, he was just taking too many shots and he had to get withdrawn. I like his confidence. I like his bravado. He's not the greatest fighter in the world, but it was a good main event, and DAZN, Oscar just about salvaged it as far as I'm concerned. So onwards and upwards for McKinson and for Rocha and for Melakuziev back in the mix as well, but no one really disgraced themselves. I think they kind of saved the show, Matty. They just about salvaged it in the end.
They did their best on short notice. Ortiz has I guess the shortened version of it is rhabdo, and for some reason I thought that was something dogs got at the kennel, but I guess I'm wrong. I don't know for some reason.
Rabies of the muscles.
That's
no, seriously, so that's fucking serious. That I mean, his muscles wasting away. What the fuck's he doing trying to make weight? What's he using?
Well, apparently he's not using anything, or he probably wouldn't be dealing with this.
You just wonder, because they take some amount of risk. Some of these fighters, they leave it to like the last week just to get like the last few pounds off, but it can get really fucking hairy. I remember watching a documentary a few years back about an MMA fighter, and he was shown what he had to go through in the last 48 hours to try and make weight. It's fucking you actually see his fucking facial features actually change over the course of that 48 hours to like a sunken skeleton. His eyes were just totally different.
That's why I'm honestly a fan of going back to same-day weigh-ins.
Well, you've got the weight divisions. That's the only thing, and if once you've got so many divisions and people just not much weight, they do weight cheap, but they try and cram themselves into the kind of smallest division that they can, so they've then got the advantage of the 24-hour rehydration, just so they can fucking use it against their opponent. So I agree with you to that point, but I think as well, how safe do they make these weights, or how safe do they make weights, that they can actually do it on the same day, whilst go and fight that same day? I don't think they can.
Matty, Deanch with all the ease is saying there, I think that's the only thing keeping Freddie going. Sad to see, but at the same time, he's living his best life in boxing. I would agree with that. Exactly. What's he going to do? Sit at home, rotting away? As long as he's kind of coherent and can move about, then he's probably better off doing what he loves. So I agree with that statement.
Yeah. Where did we get to there? How did we get to that?
How do any of us get to that stage?
I was like, did I miss some of the conversation where that was like, I didn't have the point of reference, but yeah, that was
I was worrying about Freddie's well-being, and Deanch says, well, you might as well still stick with the boxing as do anything else, and I think he's right.
No, I mean, there's people who, they work for many, many years, they retire, and they're dead in 3 months.
Is it confirmed that Ortiz will go and weight now?
That's what Hopkins was saying on the show last night. So it looks to be that way.
Because he's just fucked up his title opportunity as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
I'm not saying he's fucked up. I mean, it's messed up for him basically, because he's like number one with two bodies, and it looks like now that maybe Ennis might get the call for WBO. Who knows? Avanesyan might eventually get the WBC mandatory spot as well.
I think Ennis is going. Is it the IBF route? He's having an elimination with Custio Clayton. So it's a shame though, like you say about Ortiz. Obviously, his health comes first, and we know he's a big guy and he can't make the weight, but he spent all that time building himself up to welterweight, red-hot division. We're looking forward to him closing in the likes of Crawford, and then he has to disappear up to the next division. It's just the way boxing goes, isn't it?
I know, it's just shit, mate, isn't it?
It is shit, and that's actually an interesting segue. There's one more fight to sneak in there, but Andy, I know this will particularly get into your skin. So guess what fuckery the WBO is up to at 140 pounds?
Aye, they've dropped Jack Catterall down to third and put Tszyu Lopez into, is it number 1 or number 2?
Uh-huh.
What it's just shit, that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then he's going to be against potentially facing Liam Paro for that belt.
Bob's organization doing the business for him again, though.
I'll tell you what, man. If I'm Jack Catterall, first you get the cards, and that was fucked, and then you get this, Steve, which is just an absolute slap in the face, getting demoted after even the British Board of Boxing Control was willing to demote Ian John Lewis following his scorecard. Well, what do you do if you're Jack Catterall? You can't win for fucking losing at this point in time.
Well, I suppose there's a lot of outrage about it, but this is the way boxing is, isn't it? When you've been watching it for 20 odd years like we have, you kind of know these things are coming, and the board demoted Ian John Lewis. He'll be back up again in a year's time or whatever it is, getting all the A-star appointments, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I thought they would at least throw Catterall a bit of a bone. He signed with Probellum now. Nobody saw that coming, so hopefully they'll be able to pull a few strings on his behalf. But yeah, sanction and body shenanigans, promotional shenanigans, it's all part of boxing. Catterall hopefully will get looked after some way down the line, but it doesn't surprise me the way things are going. Slightly surprises me. I will go back on myself and say that I did think they were going to look after him a little bit better than that, but it's just the way it goes. Give him an opportunity. Let him have another chance. We all saw what he did, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a pretty shitty rub on that one, and you got to feel for the guy. He put in a great performance, and he just keeps getting smacked around. Not right, not ethical, but it is boxing.
Did you see Josh Taylor trolling him last night with a? I think it was about that actually as well. He says you better go phone the police. So obviously a wee dig.
What a fucking cunt!
Yeah, obviously a bit of shitty thing to do, like, but.
That's like some really low class shit right there, man. Like and I always thought that the Scots were classy people. He totally is changing my views.
That's that's kind of pissed off a few people those comments, but they're not exactly unsurprising, to be honest with you.
Fucking.
These guys have that edge, don't they? That's what you have to expect. That's what makes them competitors. That kind of arrogance that. They don't want to be defeated verbally or in the ring. That's what gives them that nasty edge. That's why they're great fighters, I suppose. It has to be expected.
Yeah, I guess, but I kind of like the humility aspect of it too. Someone being able to say, yeah, I got my ass kicked.
I agree. I like a mix. I've always said I like a mix. I think a bit of trash talk here and there, a bit of fighting at press conferences, a bit of humility. I wouldn't like too much either way, but sometimes, boxing's going to have shithouses in it,
Honestly, Floyd Mayweather is probably the best person with that when it comes to talking a whole bunch of shit before a fight, and then after it was done, just letting it go.
To be honest with you, I never rated Floyd's trash talk, mate. To be honest with you, even to this day, it's still corny shit. You can't even think of it. Conor McGregor post, man.
McGregor's good, but he loses. And he loses often. People who don't lose often are those people who join us in our chat every week. I'd like to thank some of them for being here. If I miss any names, I apologize. Paul Rafferty, Ricky Gravel, Michael Thompson, Matthew Russell, M. Lithgow, Nathan Ford, Chris Butler, Johnny Secretariat Johnson Nelson, Sean at Medieval, Adam Hughes, Chase Athletics, Tim Boxeo, Boom, the Motor City Cobra, Big A, Jim McDonald Boxing, and I believe that you said Deej is in there as well. So I appreciate all you guys who are in there. I also appreciate everybody that's on our Patreon. I appreciate everyone who's taken the time to give us a rating on all of those apps all over the place. Those 5-star ratings are very much appreciated. Any place that you folks care to listen to your podcasts. Also on that DAZN card, Beck the Bully, his second fight after that wicked knockout loss to Gabe Rosado, getting a good body shot stoppage over David Zagara. He's looking pretty good. He's still confident. Dude's coming back from a loss really, really well. But Andy, why don't you go ahead and fill us in on the details of a fight I didn't get to see. All I know is I didn't win any money with Taraji gaining revenge over Yabuki in 3 rounds.
Yeah, that was on our picks for last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
I got the right winner. I don't think I got the right
You had points. Steve Wellings vaulting into first place by picking stoppage there. Yeah, reclaiming his spot at the throne.
I didn't see it, to be honest with you. It was available on VPN, but it was fucking 5 o'clock in the morning job, and somebody had messaged me to say that the fight was already starting. This was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't getting up at that time on a Saturday morning. You fucking serious? Yeah, I just kind of followed the fight on Twitter. Seen the knockout, was pretty devastating, to be honest with you. So yeah, Kenshiro regains his title, 3rd round knockout against Shibuku. The fight's not up yet in any of the trackers that I've seen yet, so I dare say it'll probably hit sometime during the next week. If I get a copy, I'll pass it on to you guys if you're interested.
Do you think Kenshiro's going to stay at 108 pounds, or do you think he might be thinking of a move up?
It really depends, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a couple of fights here to be made in terms of like unifications. Kai Gucci is obviously the obvious one. I know he signed with Eddie, but that was a strange signing for me, to be honest with you, because Eddie doesn't really kind of promote a lot of the kind of smaller guys. I don't know what he's going to be planning to do him, but it's a unification. He holds that WBA belt, which I think it's the legit one, to be honest with you. And there's a couple of other Japanese fighters kicking around about that weight as well that he could easily fight. I don't know if
Eddie has your boy Jesse Rodriguez. He has Julio Cesar Martinez. DAZN had the Gonzalez Estrada fight. It was going to have the 3rd one. I think Eddie's investing a bit down there.
Well, maybe I don't know if he's going to be like planning it long term, but there is talent to be made there, but it's cheap. It's cheap talent. You know, it's obviously it's not going to be mainstream. You know, headlining a lot of fights possibly, but you know, there's a raft of fights these guys could get made. But as for Kenshiro going up in weight, look, again, I think it's going to come down to opportunities, to be honest with you. I don't know about opportunities for him at 112 just now. Son Edwards, obviously, he fought there during the weekend. I don't know if Nakatani still got his belt, which is the WBO, so all Japanese fight. I like to see the Japanese make more unification fights, to be honest with you. I don't think they do make a lot of them, and if they do, they generally try and keep it, you know, like all Japanese or all kind of Asian fights, basically. So I think they like to see him step
fucking
up
racists.
So maybe like say Alvarado or Jonathan Gonzalez, I think, is other title holder. I think the other belt holder of the WBA, I think he's got to fight someone else in the division, some sort of kind of box off as part of the reduction of title bullshit. But I don't know any more about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with, especially when you're talking about going over to Thailand and you don't get a whole shitload of information out of there, right? So, Steve, how much of that Dubai card did you pick up? Did you catch? Sonny Edwards getting a UD over Muhammad Wasim, not as wide as we had wanted or predicted. Regis Prograis also getting a stoppage in 6 rounds as well over there. No,
I'm trying to work it out because there was 2 Dubai cards. I do have more notes actually, funnily enough, on the Friday night one, but the Saturday night one, I didn't see TJ Dehaney, which I actually wanted to watch because he's always good value, but I see he knocked out Cesar Juarez in the 2nd round. I got an email notification off Probellum, great bunch of lads, that Batch Carve had knocked out Korea. I didn't see that either. And I managed to miss Peter McGrail from the walk-on to the decision, so he knocked someone out in the 2nd round. I saw Prograis against McKenna. It was pretty much expected. Tyrone McKenna's tough as old boots. He talks himself into good opportunities, but I thought Prograis maybe shot his load. He always looks a little bit chubby for me, Prograis. Like he could slim down, but he's always struggling with the weight. And
he came in at 138 for this one, too.
Yeah.
Like career low.
That's right. I always wonder as well about him, why no big promoters picked him up. He's clearly talented. He can clearly punch, but he has to kind of go out to these backwaters, and he's signed with about 3 or 4 different promoters and managers and advisors. And he always seemed like a natural fit for the PBC, but Uncle Al obviously saw something in him that wasn't there and hasn't picked him up. But he was out there beating up Tyrone McKenna. As I said, took his lumps, badly cut, dropped, got stuck in as much as he could. But Prograis just had the edge in class, experience. punching power in particular, and he looked good. I'd like to see him in bigger opportunities than this, but at least he kept himself ticking over. And as for the Sonny Edwards one, did a lot of dancing, a lot of moving, a lot of shit talk to Danny Vaughan. He was shouting to the corners. Wazim was coming forward, throwing a lot of bombs, but looked like Sonny was dipping and ducking out of the way of most of what I saw. But the cards represented a little bit of a different fight. He had points deducted from what I understand. I was only dipping in and out of this one. It was at a funny time. I thought to myself, oh yeah, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. Be a great time to watch boxing, but just wasn't to be for me. So I didn't get to watch it completely, just sitting with my eyes glued to the screen. But Sonny did what he does. He's a good fighter, technically good, not that good on the eyes. Ozzie Smith, friend of the pod, who's unfortunately not with us tonight, RIP, is a big Sonny Edwards fan. He's going to be very difficult to beat for people. But at the end, I did catch part of his post-fight interview, and he seemed to be calling out Martinez, and he wants unifications, he wants Ring Magazine, he wants this, that, and the other, and that's good. I think he genuinely will take the big fights, and he generally will.
Martinez needs a few months off.
Well, that's what I thought.
After beating.
That's what I thought too. After the Chocolatito fight, but that's what Edwards thinks. Maybe he punches soft enough that they'll put him in again, but. Yeah, Edwards is a talented fighter. Maybe not the best on the eye because he isn't the biggest puncher, but he did exactly what he could against Wazim, who did exactly what he could as well. And it's a decent fight, decent card overall. They got a couple of nights in Dubai. Everyone seemed to have a great time. All the 45 people in attendance over the 2 nights combined. So more power to them, I say. Doing a great job, those fellas.
Was seriously just not very many people in the stands. Just like some really like
empty, mate. It's like 2 man, a dog sitting there.
That's really odd.
Even Azad was in town at the weekend in Dubai.
They could have at least got a few crisis actors in the.
Yeah. What the fuck? And it's called Duty Free Stadium.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what they're advertising. Like, yeah, you ain't got to pay any duties on a
pack 200 Benson and Hedges with every ticket, I think, and some Paco Rabanne perfume.
That's it's I mean, if they're paying these people the money, but this is like that more money than sense kind of fucking thing going on over there. But I mean, if somebody wants to pay Regis Prograis to go fight Tyrone McKenna and in front of them and 5 of their closest friends, well, fuck it. If the money's right, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
What a bizarre fucking world this is. Boxing is just the strangest goddamn thing ever. Andy, do you have any thoughts on this card before we move on over?
Pretty much as what Steve said. I did catch most of the Edwards fight. I thought he was pretty much on point. There was moments where he was getting caught. Maybe he was getting a wee bit cocky and that, but never really in any much bother, to be honest with you. I know Wazim was pressing him quite constantly. Maybe the commentating team was kind of like suggesting as to why he's fighting like that. He was kind of like brawling out a wee bit in the first 5-6 rounds. It seemed to be part of the strategy. I think it was fighting at his own game, bank the rounds and then just kind of like coax it home. So yeah, he does what he does, and I agree with Steve. He will definitely be hard to beat. I know he called it Martinez. There's part of me thinks he's brushing up Eddie's ego by doing that, because there's a couple of times I've seen Sonny now kind of like not so much begging for the fight, but being kind of like complimentary or nice towards Eddie to try and get this fight. So maybe Eddie's had a jokingly said to him, "Look, you need to start being nice to me if you want these fights or whatever." So he's probably just probably went and done that. As for Prograis, he beat the absolute shit out of Tyrone McKenna. It was pretty savage, to be honest with you. Never really kind of offered much back. So Prograis, as I said, I mentioned it a couple of weeks back after the Josh Taylor fight. Where has he been? He's not really got a following. He's not really got a fan base. I remember his fight, one of his fights in the World Boxing Super Series was in it was in his hometown. It was fucking empty. So he just takes opportunities that he can get.
It was like a sports hall, wasn't it? That
yeah, it was. Fucking, it was a big, massive theatre too. It was like fucking 500 folk in it. But I just want to see him more active. I need to see him in better fights. I just think he's kind of like possibly regressed. Maybe he's been paid good money for that series, and it's just maybe kind of hampered his dedication to me. But who knows? Because he's talented, he's got power, and he should certainly be challenging for titles, and he should certainly be challenging some of the top fighters. And it's no disrespect to Tyrone McKenna, but he's no one of the elite of the division, especially at 140. So I want to see him in again, obviously there's politics involved here with some of the mandatory he's going to get stacked up shortly and that, but he needs to be fighting far better than that. I don't know if I caught anything else on that card, to be honest with me.
Tell us about Thor Bjornsson against Eddie Hall, then, man. I can't believe I missed it. That's dude. I wanted to see it so.
I was sitting watching it. Right? I was actually quite surprised. You remember that fucking Scottish heavyweight title fight? It was on Sky a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a great fight, man.
It was shit. These two
Thor
guys
would beat both of them.
easily. These two guys were actually okay, believe it or not. They were actually jabbing,
They're real professionals. Like people who get to the top of their sport, they know the effort it takes, and like these guys dug in. So good on them.
Yeah, both got dropped. Both got up, fought it out to the end. I think it was a 6th rounder. I think it was Bjornsson that won. I didn't really catch because what happened was the official stream was actually free, but it kept fucking up and kept breaking down. So anyway, it was some podcast on YouTube eventually managed to do a voiceover, was actually streaming it live. That's how I ended up catching it by pure circumstance. As I say, it was okay. I just found out the score. It was 57-54 to Bjornsson. So so that kind of factors on like the knockdowns, etc. But it was actually okay. It was kind of weird seeing two guys like fucking jacked. I mean, you should see Eddie Hall's fucking shoulders, man. It's like fucking pineapple stuck up the top.
Andy, to be fair, right, I saw a clip on Twitter from that Thor, and he threw like a right hand, feinted, and a big left after it, man. The technique wasn't too bad. I've seen worse.
Aye. This is what I was saying. It was fucking, you take that Jay McFarlane fight a couple of weeks back. It was shit compared to this. This was okay. Actually, okay stuff. Obviously, Big Bjornsson's been working with Billy Nelson the last few months, so he's kind of like got him into shape. Get the punches
so they looked better than Freddie Flintoff.
Basically, mate. 100% did. It was okay. It was a good laugh. I think most folk would say that they were technically better than what we probably were maybe expecting. So yeah, it was okay.
There was a few years back on, I think it was on the History Channel. There was a show called "The Strongest Man in the World," and Eddie Hall and I think Thor did it too. Was one of the guys on there, and it's a great show. Like these guys, so much are very much gentle giants. They like to have fun. They love kids. They're good with people and shit like that. Brian Shaw. I've never run into him, and you'd know if you did. He lives like within 15-20 miles of me. So it's interesting, and
you know about the world's strongest man, like Magnus Magnusson and all them. No,
yeah,
Magnus
Tom Stoltman's. What do you
call the guy that used to pull the trucks along?
Jeff Capes.
Jeff Capes. Yeah.
That's who these guys are, man. Thor and Eddie. That's the shit that they do, like the Atlas Stones and things like that. Like, yeah, these guys are absolute beasts. I think Eddie Hall has a world record for something. I think because he's real like kind of short and squat compared to like Thor. I think it's like I think it might be like deadlift or squat or something like that. Where being closer to the ground is really advantageous.
I think his deadlift's like I don't know if it's still the world record, but it certainly was at one point. The deadlift, I know that for a fact because they mentioned it on the recent strongman tournament that Tom Stoltman won actually.
Yeah,
he's multiple-time British, UK champion or whatever, and European champ or something along those lines. Fucking guy's got titles coming to his arsehole, man.
And honestly, if you get a chance to like see some of the, like I said, that show's called I think it's the world's strongest man or some shit like that.
Yeah, every year they do that.
No,
Glenn Ross and all them used to do.
No, this was like a History Channel thing where they like do like sorted challenges going across the world or something like that. And then they they have in betweens where there is bullshitting and stuff like that. But it's a great show. They're great guys. Highly recommended. That's cool that they went into boxing and they took it seriously. Because it sounds like it wasn't an embarrassing moment for boxing, much like Triller cards can be. So right on. That's really cool. So, guys, it might be a little bit of a short show this week. It's just a little bit. The action was a little bit light this week. Nothing exciting. Nothing too exciting next week too. 135-pound clash over on ESPN between Miguel Berchelt coming back after that devastating ass kicking delivered by God damn it, why can't I think of his name? But anyways, he's going against Jeremiah Nakatila, who has lost to he's lost to Lomachenko, he lost to Stevenson. And this, Steve, this is a fight for me. I'm not entirely positive that I'm going with Berchelt on this one because I don't know that it was just the weight against Oscar Valdez. There it came to me. He just at times just looked like a totally washed fighter. And this might just be one of those moments where a chump gets a chance to take out a former champ, because Nakatila is nothing special, but I wouldn't count him out the way that Berchelt looked last time.
No, I think, to be honest with you, I'll probably count him out. I think Nakatila's shit, man. That fight against Shakur Stevenson, he was really poor. I think Stevenson should have put his foot on the gas and got rid of him. I know he went the 12 rounds, so he might have a bit of ruggedness about him. I don't remember him fighting Lomachenko, though, to be honest. But yeah, I think Berchelt should be able to win this. It's all set up for him to win this one. After the Valdez fight, he just kept coming forward, didn't he? Thinking his power, his pressure, his pace was going to get to Valdez, and in the end, he just started getting picked up. Well, I know he was dropped earlier in the fight as well, but Valdez boxed really nicely that night, and he didn't meet him head on. He showed a new dimension to his game, and he boxed him, and he caught him at all the right times, and it was a dangerous knockout at the end. Just that big, massive banging shot, and Berchelt was just completely exhausted, ended up collapsing. But I think he's had enough of a rest since then. That was what. February 2021. It was over a year ago now. That fight was. Time just flies by, man. And Berchelt was dropped 3 times in total. So yeah, maybe he got more of a beating than I thought. But hopefully the year out, giving him a chance to regroup and get himself back in. And I'd be surprised if Berchelt lost to a guy like Nakatila, to be honest. But stranger things have happened. But I'd go for Berchelt probably on points, or maybe try and make a bit of a statement to get himself back in the mix. Because if he can stop Nakatila where Stevenson couldn't, he might have a bit of a bargaining chip going forward. Maybe the winner or even the loser rematch with Valdez after Shakur Stevenson beats him. He could get back into that mix, but I'll be surprised if Nakatila beats him, if I'm honest.
Yeah, this is back up at lightweight, so I don't think Berchelt is aiming for anything Valdez again.
Right enough, yeah. So he's out the way altogether there. So
yeah, so moving up is a good thing for him. I mean, I think that might take care of the weight thing, and now it's just kind of wondering what he has left. I think that 5 pounds matters.
Not really too much business at lightweight, I suppose. He was WBC champion, wasn't he, down at super featherweight, I think. So if he's got a bit of credibility with them in the bank, he might try and plot that course up at lightweight. Well, there's already about 4 WBC champions at lightweight, so he can maybe muscle in and get himself some kind of created title. Is Haney the champion? Is Kambosos the champion? Who knows? Yeah, a decent win against Nakatila. He could maybe push himself into the mix, but yeah, I'd be surprised if he lost next week.
Andy, you giving the big tall bastard a chance against the Warrior?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I agree with everything Steve was saying. The guy's not great, to be honest with you, but Berchelt's got a lot of miles on the clock. But I still think he's got enough about him, surely, to beat this guy. I mean, I think every time he's only had one step up in class, I think, and he's lost it. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But Berchelt's, he's a bit heavy. With anything, he's a heavy hitter, so you never know. Maybe if he catches the nibby with a shot, he might go. But I'm siding with Berchelt. I'll say he stops him probably late. Was it a 10 or a 12 rounder?
I believe that was scheduled for 10.
This Berchelt one's a 12, according to Boxers.
Son of a bitch! I'm always wrong. Son of a bitch.
I'll go late stoppage. If he struggles or maybe looks bad, I think we might start asking questions maybe about him.
I'm just on the fact because when somebody takes a beating like he did, and it's not like he's a youngster. I just have questions. So
it's not so much the beatings as well, mate. It's the opponents that he's fought in the fights that he's been in. Remember the Takahashi Maura fight? I think he had 2 or 3 fights with Francisco Vargas.
That was such a great fight.
Yeah, I remember the Vargas fight. So mate, they were even brutal. I can't mind anything else top of my head just now, but Valdez obviously, he gave him an absolute fucking savage beatdown. Must be in his mid-30s now, so you just wonder how much he's got left. Going up in weight as well.
Dude, that Maura fight was fucking epic.
Yeah, it was sick. It was absolutely sick. I think Maura got dropped in that fight actually as well. Even though that Berchelt won that, I think he won it wide. But it was fucking.
Was Maura the guy who just kept on throwing like the big powerful left hand constantly, just bang, bang, bang?
Just fucking straight ahead the whole fucking fight, man.
Dude, thank God he pulled out. Fucking Abner Merez was going to move up to 130 pounds to fight Miura for his belt, and that was before all the fights with with Vargas or Berchelt or anything like that. And I was like, oh man, I was waiting for that to happen. I'm like, you think Johnny Gonzalez left hand fucking hurt you, boy? That thing is gonna destroy your fucking.
Wasn't Mares going to move up and fight Gervonta Davis at one point? They must hate him over there. It was somebody. Was it Davis or somebody like that? I'm pretty sure before he retired.
I don't know. It was sick. After the Leo losses, they just like, yeah, what can we do to this poor guy? Man.
Now he talks on Showtime like he's on a lag. No wonder the poor fellow, all the shots he's taken.
Oh, shit. Man, I miss Johnny Gonzalez, man. That guy could punch. What a great puncher he was.
I fought Gary Russell, didn't he, Gonzalez?
Did he not knock out, was it Linares in Japan? Or no, it was Hackett. Was it Hasegawa?
He fought my favourite Filipino fighter. Oh, what do you call him? Jerry.
Oh, Penalosa.
Penalosa. Yeah, he was a good fighter, Penalosa.
Yeah, there's some good fights at featherweight back in the day, and that guy was such a dark horse because God, he could fucking punch. God, he could punch. So, anyways, let's see here. There's also going back over to Dubai. I don't know how many people are going to be in attendance for this one, Steve. But let's see here. I got my screenshots. There we go. But we're going to have on that one Mike Perez versus Vasil Ducar at cruiserweight. Brian Augustin Agregu versus Kulbur Daka at junior middleweight. And Andy Marcos Maidana against Yao Cabrera over 6 rounds at middleweight.
What?
The bad man is back.
Fuck, I've never seen
back
that one.
in Dubai.
Just talking. Just when you're talking about like Maidana, that's a shock. I've got 2 other shocks for the people listening. Actually, this was kind of like bring us up. But Lee Selby's fighting in Argentina next Saturday, right? Never seen that one. Lee Selby, he's fighting
against an unbeaten guy, isn't he?
Gustavo Lemos, his name is 27-0, 17 knockouts, and then. This one will get some of the old school up my arms and that. But Reno Leibenberg's fighting on the Felix Sturm undercard in Germany next Saturday, right? Guess who he's fighting? Kasim Uma.
Fox.
An 8-round. He's 43. He's got PTSD. He's got CTE, and God knows fucking what else he's got, man. But
on the Sturm
alcoholic.
On the Sturm undercard, mate. He's not won a fight.
43 as well. Are they trying to get someone killed on them cards or what, man?
Mate, this Uma was the one that was actually like frog marched into the Ugandan army. And
he was a fucking child soldier.
Child soldier, right? Exactly. Aye.
I remember fighting Roman Karmazin, man, on a Sunday morning back in about 2008.
Killed his fucking dad because he defected when he was in a boxing tournament. Killed his fucking dad. Couldn't return to see him get fucking buried or anything like that. Poor cunt. But yeah, he's been in with a fucking few names like Gabe Rosado. Vanis Martinez.
Yeah, he gave Triple J a decent fight.
Yeah, Jermaine Taylor was that the one that Manny Stewart was losing his shit at Jermaine Taylor in the corner? Was that the Corey Spinks fight?
That was Spinks, I think, wasn't it?
Was it the Spinks fight? He's fought.
Or Ronald Wright. It was one of them fights.
Nobody could ever figure out how Corey Spinks was beating their fighter. To this day, after watching a number of Corey Spinks fights, it still makes no fucking sense to me.
Chokwu loves Spinks.
No, I don't like him. I really don't. But I've watched enough of his fights to know that he definitely won.
He beat Mayorga, didn't he?
Yeah, and he got robbed against a couple people too. And he didn't look like he was good enough to beat any of them, but he did.
That Maidana fight just slipped through my knowledge. Put it that way. Is it even listed on BoxRec, mate?
That was on ESPN's schedule.
I see, we're working off different shit. I just put it in the box, right? It's not coming up. So, is it an exhibition?
I don't know. It's over 6 rounds. God damn it!
Who's he facing? Mai.
Sorry, he's facing Yao Cabrera.
Yao Cabrera, never heard of him.
Yeah.
I'll let you see what weight he's a middleweight. Fucking hell.
Middleweight, yeah.
I've got to see this now. It's on Eurosport next week as well, isn't it? Steve, all the Dubai shows are on
Yes,
Eurosport.
I think it will be actually. Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see him.
There was one on Friday night, Matty, if you want me to quickly run over it for you.
Sure, go for it, man.
It was the John O'Carroll fight, actually. I know that I asked Rob about it last week, you see, so I just thought I'd make a few notes. So, yeah, John O'Carroll's carved out a decent little career for himself. Me and Rob have discussed it in the past. I remarked in the WhatsApp, actually, the African fellow he fought, he looked compact and sturdy, and I thought he might be around for the long haul, but I got it wrong again. Carroll just used his experience and his work rate and ratcheted up the pace a little bit and started putting it on him. Patrick Ariye, the opponent, was called. And there was just a difference in quality and gears. And one thing I was going to mention as well was I think we need to start reassessing this Accra Ghana praise as well. I mean, it's correct that there's some tough legends come out of that part of the world, guys like Azuma Nelson and Ike Quarte, but lately they've been few and far between, and they're just mostly fight zone fodder.
You know, the problem is a lot of these modern Ghanaian kids are born with a wooden spoon in their mouth, Steve. Don't know the hard ways.
The prison canteen's not chewing them up anymore, actually. So
it's time to retire, Andy, man. Accra is a boxing hotbed until further notice, I think.
Know. Bakum, that was the place where all the big boxers come from and that. But there's nobody. I mean, I think Dogbo, possibly the last Ghanaian. It's been a world champion.
Yep. Isaac was a good fighter. But apart from that, man, I think they're living on past glories.
Oh, talking about Ghana, just off the top of my head, I've noticed Lee McAllister. Lee McAllister,
yeah. He's back down at welterweight.
He's fucking fighting in Ghana next week.
He was heavyweight last time I saw him.
Exactly. What the fuck is going on here?
I don't know, man. He's ended up on Boxer. But yeah, other couple ones on that Dubai card as well. Shaki Foster looked pretty good. He fought in a world title for eliminator against Mohamed Jakubov. He took his digs well, pretty straightforward fighter. Shabazz Masood beat Yohan Bayo. Bayo's been in the past with Paul Butler and Inoue. I think he's just looking for a final few paydays now. He was pulled out by his corner. No knock on Masood. He looked decent, but Bayo, he's washed now. And a quick word as well for former pod guest Rowan Darte, who lost for the first time on that Friday night undercard. He's an Irish fighter based in Dubai. His trainer listens to the show. He used to, at least, anyway. Shout out if he still does. Disappointing now to see him defeated finally in his 15th card, Rowan Darte. So, yeah, the Friday night card was actually pretty decent. If you'd have pushed Friday and Saturday together, you might have had a decent fight card overall, but they split it up. And, yeah, it kept us going on Eurosport, I suppose, Matty, from that 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock period.
He's an Irish fighter based in Dubai?
Yeah, and he was born in Manchester, and I think he has some kind of Iranian descent, so there's a lot going on there.
Okay.
That's a lethal mixture. Iranian and Irish fucking mixed. Oh, shit.
The only question is he a City fan or United?
I'm not sure. Explosive fighter, though. Good fighter, Rowan. But yeah, he lost.
Well, damn. Well, hopefully he gets back up on the winning train up ahead here. Let's see here. Back to the upcoming in this coming week here for one of our fights for our pick'ems. And just to go over that right now, I'm the only one that went with Yabuki because I don't know, I'm fucking stupid. Right now we're sitting at Steve Wellings in the lead with 9 points, and now because Rob went with Taraji by stoppage when he sent me sent him a message a couple days after the pod. He go ahead and picks up 3. Oz went with points on Taraji, picks up 2. So we got a 3-way tie for second place, and me lingering there in last. That'll probably last a really long time. I'll probably just stay in the basement the whole while. But our first fight, Mr. Wellings, since you are the one that's currently sitting in the lead, our first fight for you is going to be Tim Tszyu coming stateside and fighting in fucking Minneapolis, Minnesota, of all places, against Terrell Gausha. Gausha, good enough fighter. He's been with some solid opposition, durable, Olympian, credible opponent. What are you thinking happens for the upcoming Aussie here? I'm high on this kid.
Yep, this is the first installment of the Showtime PBC roster of 9 fights, which was put up during the week. A couple of pay-per-views thrown in there as well. Patreon subscribers will know that I gave my thoughts throughout the week. Gausha, I'm still scarred from that fight he had with Erislandia Lara when he bored the pants off me, but he is a good fighter. He has a bit of pop. I'm pretty sure I went over this last week. I'm just going to bore everybody, go over all ground, got rid of Jamonte Clark so he can clearly bang if he gets into range. I think he'll give Tszyu a few problems. He's awkward. He can punch if Tszyu leaves himself open. I think there's opportunities for Gausha. That said, I'm going for Tszyu on points, but not necessarily as straightforward as people think. I was a big fan of his father, Costa. I thought he was a fantastic fighter. Tim's been doing all the right things. He's gone over to America now at the right time. This is the next step up of his career. The natural progression is to go stateside, put on a performance. If he was to get rid of Gausha, knock him out, that would be a statement. That would really show that he's arrived and he's ready to mix things up in the division. But at the moment, I think Gausha's savvy enough, experienced enough, and a skilled enough boxer. You mentioned Olympian as well, to give him rounds, to win rounds, and give Tszyu a bit of a hard time. Maybe even a majority decision, a couple to Tszyu, and maybe an even card. I do think Gausha will give him problems, and it'll be up to Tszyu to solve those problems. So no stoppage for me. Tszyu on points after a pretty rough and tumble 12 rounds, I think.
All right. Steve going with Tszyu on points. Andy, what direction are you going on that fight with the son of the man?
I'm with Steve. I'm Tszyu, picking him to win. Part of me thinks possibly a light stoppage, but considering how he beat the shit out of Inoue, if Gausha is able to stand up to his power, he can make it awkward. I think he could maybe land a few straight right hands on Tszyu. He can get caught a wee bit kind of too straight, I think, as well, kind of chin in the air a wee bit. But Gausha's decent. You know, he's got decent skills, decent jab, good right hand, sturdy. And if he gets you hurt, he will step into you and he'll try and finish you off. So, you know, Tszyu will need to be respectful of him. But at the same time, at 27, this is his big move. Time to step it up and time to kind of put it on the rest of the world to show that you are now the new upcoming guy, because we all think he could be challenging for titles possibly in the next year or so. I'm not too sure if he's signed full time with PBC, but this is for the fights to get made. I think it's the obvious choice, especially in that weight division anyway. So
yeah, if he's going to be at 154 and 160 over the next,
So he's cleared out regionally, shall we say? You know, Australia, Asia, Pacific, what you want to call it. It's now time to step up to the world class, and Gausha would be, you know, a good test, because as I say, I think he's got 2 losses. I think they've both came to. Who's it? One was to Lara. Who was the second one to again? What's his name?
Was it Lubin?
No? Lubin, that's who it was. Yeah,
Lubin. Yeah,
it was over distance and that. So it was, you know, he's only lost to guys who have been either like, you know, world ranked. So Tszyu's like number 3. If he doesn't win this fight, Gausha, then it's obviously it could be another hard road back from. But at the same time, as I'm expecting Tszyu to do it. I do expect him to have some issues. He might get a bit greedy, we would be hungry to impress possibly, but at the same time, I think he'll have his moments where he's going to kind of think his way through it. But I'm kind of siding maybe with a late stoppage, but I'm going to, because Steve's in the lead just now, I need to try and hold pace for him, so I'm going to go points as well, just to try and hang on his coattails basically at this point with his prediction league.
Gotta have a strategy, man. You gotta have a strategy. That's honestly what I was thinking of your rookie. I'm like, everyone else, fuck it. If they're wrong, I'm right.
Win it, mate. If you run it, you got to win it.
Aren't we doing this till the end of the year, you said, Matty?
Fucking A, man.
So why is he clinging on to me in March?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Go to be, man. Can you let you see you go too far out of distance?
Take Europa League football, Andy, man. Take it easy. It's all right.
You are the target right now. See, I'm just going to stay in the back and then just come up and surprise everybody towards the end, you know.
We want what he's got.
I'm going with the Lee Wood method. Let's see here. All right, so you got points. I'm taking the stoppage. I'm taking Tszyu by stoppage.
That would be an impressive performance if he stops him, you know, because Lubin, for all of his faults, he can bang, and Gausha managed to negotiate the distance with him. And Lara, I mean, that was a terrible fight. He stunk it out. I think he's experienced enough to see it through, and if Tszyu stops him, I think it's a statement, Matty.
Yeah, it's a big statement. And I mean, that's part of the, you know, like I said, I'm high on the kid. So let's shoot for the stars on this one. Oh, look who's coming here. Perfect time. Perfect timing. Rappin' Rob Kelly joining us. Rob, did you know that you're my 3rd favorite Irish recording artist of all time? Right behind the Coors and Thin Lizzy?
I thought you were going to say Bono. We were going to have a fucking problem.
Didn't I do that joke before? Should I have it in Crystal Swing?
No, Thin Lizzy's the greatest band of all time from Ireland, and that's going to stay that way forever.
Big fan of the Coors myself, to be honest with you.
Lovely young lasses, Rob. Lovely at one time.
The main singer, she's married to billionaire Dermot Desmond's son. What does he have that I don't?
So,
control the Celtic Football Club. That'd be nice for a start. On my own time.
So Rob, let's. I'll give you a chance here to circle back on anything from this last weekend that you thought was worth talking about, and then we'll jump back into where we're at the previews. But yeah, if there's anything you liked from the past couple of days, feel free to speak your piece.
It was an exciting fight with Blair Cobbs and Rocha. Actually, I enjoyed that fight. That was pretty good. Cobbs is one of these guys that he's talked himself into my psyche. You know that way. Like he wasn't on my radar at all, but he's entertaining a little bit. I guess he's a trash talker. He was talking about he wanted Spence and Bud Crawford, wasn't he? Before that, so I mean, I think he can punch. He's got an exciting style, but he doesn't seem to have much powers of recovery when he gets hit. And that low, I love the low lead hand. It's great until you get caught. You know that way. So it's fantastic. He's got a southpaw style and all that, but that he reaches a bit with the shots, and he doesn't seem to get the hand back to the face quick enough. And Rocha jumped on him when he got him hurt, or Rocha jumped on him when he got him hurt, and finished the job. So credit to him. I suppose when fighters like Cobb get beaten, there's always more about it because of the trash talk. So if you trash talk, you have to learn it. You have to know how to fight. But he's fucking 32 years of age. He's probably trying to put himself in the mix for a big fight. He was doing all the right things, opening his mouth. He just wasn't keeping his fucking hands up as well. He was actually doing quite well in the fight up until then. But and then like the Sonny Edwards and the David Avanesyan and the Hamza Shir, they're all routine enough wins. Like I don't think you guys have probably covered them. Berlanga would want to be stopping a fighter the caliber of Steve Rolls if he's going to be what they said he's going to be. I think. I don't think from what I've seen of Steve Rolls. Now I haven't seen the fight yet, but from what I saw of Rolls up to this point, he didn't look great to me. So that suggests that maybe Berlanga is going to find it a little bit tougher as he moves up in levels of opposition. Other than that, wasn't a fantastic week. Wasn't a bad weekend, but it wasn't a fantastic weekend. And I think we've had better weeks in the recent past. But
just too much little bitty things that was on this week.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing basically, wasn't it? There was a lot going on, but it was all a bit like routine shit, like wasn't it? So
yeah, it was kind of a weekend, right? It's that we had shit to watch, but not necessarily any real oohs and ahs. But the knockout of Cobbs was pretty fucking good at the end of the day. But Rob, where we were at in those previews, and one of our fights for our predictions this week is Tszyu against Terrell Gausha. What are you thinking about the Aussie and his American debut?
I think that the script is written for Tszyu to progress, isn't it? Like is this his first fight outside of Australia?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so that'll bring something different. There's a bit of pressure with that. Comes in fighting. You know, he's certainly had it on all his own way up to this point. I think he's been matched pretty well. He's got a long way to proving he's his own man, which is something that he was making a point of saying a lot in his earlier interviews. So a win against the likes of he didn't he make himself. Who did he make himself available for there recently? Was it one of the Charlos?
Paulo Castaño, I think.
He jumped in, didn't he? So he's certainly willing to challenge himself at the top level, and I think Gausha is probably a stepping stone in the right direction. I would think that Tszyu was going to win this within 7, and cut him down, beat him down, and get the stoppage. I think. Look, at matchmaking is everything, isn't it? Like I think he's having his first kind of venture into the US. I think he's going to be looking to put on a performance, and they're going to give him somebody that he can look good against to make a big fight down the line. So I kind of see him stopping Gausha within 7.
Does it make you feel better or worse that I also picked Tszyu by stoppage?
Well, it makes me feel way worse now. Is there money on it?
not yet, Rob. Not yet.
If they pick someone to look good against them, they mustn't have seen Gausha against Laura.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. I think Tszyu is the real deal from what I've seen of him so far. I haven't really been paying as close attention to Gausha. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice, but I think Tszyu's going to get the job done with a stoppage.
All right. Rob and I riding on that Tszyu stoppage train. And now we're going to hop on the plane and head over to Leeds. Lovely bunch of lads there in Leeds. And Steve, we're going to see the rematch between Warrington and Martinez. The undercard includes Ebony Bridges getting a title opportunity somehow. It is what it is. Weird world. But then the one fight that I think could be pretty interesting on the undercard, 135-pound clash, Maxie Hughes, Ryan Walsh. Give me your take on that one, Steve.
I've had enough for Leeds, first of all, after last Friday night against Wolves, but I'll do that in my own time, shall I? Maxie Hughes, that's a good fight against Ryan Walsh. Ryan Walsh is a quality operator. I've seen him live and in Technicolor back in the day against James Tennyson. He's a good switch hitter, very accurate puncher. Him against Hughes is a good fight. It's a decent undercard altogether from Eduardo. I'll give him a pat on the back. Ebony Bridges, IBF bantamweight title against Maria Cecilia Roman. No idea about her. She could be anything. It's all set up, I imagine, for Ebbs to get her world title and send a Facebook group into raptures. So that should be a decent one. Hopi Price there as well. Sky Nicholson. Dalton Smith against Ray Moylet's an interesting one for me. Ray Moylet's sort of come out the shadows again. I remember him back in the day as an amateur. He was a quality amateur, really exciting. Nice guy. Interviewed him on a number of occasions. Turned pro in America. It just didn't happen for him for whatever reason. He has a good beard as well, which is always a plus in my book. He seems to have come out of like I said, out the shadows here. I'm just going to click on him quickly and see where he's been hiding, Ray. He's obviously in the away corner, set up to lose against Dalton Smith, but he was last seen out in 2021, so a year ago. He fought with a first-round knockout in Belgium, and before that, he lost a split to Uras Quetta 3 years ago in Castlebar. That was his only loss to date. It hasn't happened to him as a pro. He's been brought in as the away man. He might end up going the same way as Eric Donovan did a few weeks ago against Robeisy Ramirez. But he real pro style, Ray Moylet, so we'll see how that one goes. As for the main event, do you want me to talk about the main event, or is it just undercard only, Matty?
I was just hitting that the Maxie Hughes Ryan Walsh fight, but whatever you want to do.
I don't know. Kiko Martinez, I mean, how many times are we going to wheel this guy out? Against Galahad, he looked like he was on the way out for good.
He's a fucking world champion now.
He's had 10 losses. He come back with a shot from hell, massive puncher. Another fighter I go way back with. I remember him missing weight against Wayne McCulloch in the Ulster Hall back in 2007. Obviously upset Bernard Dunn. We've seen him fight Frampton twice as well. Seen him many times, Kiko. Nice guy, big puncher, never write him off. It's all about Warrington, I think, what he's got left here, psychologically and physically. Ideally, I'd say Warrington is set up for him to win on points, but those Lara fights, inconclusive in that second one. And, people say Eddie never looks after his fighters. He never brings the champions over like Frank, like Demetrius Andrade coming over to fight Zach Parker. Here's Eddie delivering the goods, bringing a world title, a world champion like Kiko to Leeds for Josh Warrington, looking after his fighter. We've gone over the Lara thing before. Don't know what they were thinking, but it is what it is, as Porky would say. Warrington on points for me, but with no great confidence. If Kiko can land one on him, then they've fought before. People thought Kiko won the first fight. I can't even remember what happened yesterday, let alone what happened in that first fight. I'm going for Warrington on points, Matty. And shout out to Joe Burns for his 179 while we're in there.
Yes. Says, I hope you had a good Friday night, Steve. Hashtag Mott. What does that one stand for?
It's I think it's a Leeds hashtag. Leeds
is it?
Hashtag,
well, after the first half, it was all I was buzzing, but then the second half didn't go so well for us.
All right then. So, you're taking. You think you're going? Did you say Warrington on points on that?
Warrington on points, yeah.
All right. Where do you think you're going on that one, Rob? Warrington, Martinez. Anything else on the card that interests you too?
No, I think I've got a bit of history with Kiko as well. I spoke about it on the pod. I was there the night he knocked out Bernard Dunn. I was in the dressing room with Andy Lee and Manny, and I went out to walk back to my seat, and they told me that I couldn't go that way because Kiko was just about to do his ring walk, so I had to run around the old entrance to the stadium, and I was just after putting my ass in the seat, and the fucking fight was over. Kiko was after knocking him out by the time I got to sit down. No, it's hard to know, like, it's hard to judge Kiko Martinez at this stage of his career. I mean, he showed he's something left against Galahad, but up until that point where he landed that shot against Galahad, what did he really do in the fight? Fuck all. Had 2 losses to Carl Frampton. He's been fucking all over the world. He's like Lisa Stansfield, this fella. He's been around the world, and I cannot stop fucking fighting for world titles. I don't know. I'd expect Warrington to win pretty wide on the cards, but I think Kiko will make it tough along the way. But yeah, Ebony Bridges. I'm fucking watching that fight, man. Come on, like. I don't even know who Ebbs is fighting. Who is she fighting? She could be. Although there's a couple of surprises lately in the women's fights, hasn't there? They've been throwing up characters like Baumgardner and these characters who making it a little bit interested. So,
well, and a lot of those gals are coming in at 10-1 money who are getting these wins, Rob. Like I don't know how many of these 10-1s are hitting, but I'm almost looking at if you bet all of them. Yeah, I mean you hit
one of them will come up like
you had fucking
get
30%
a parlay on the
10-1s
there.
Well, no parlays. Don't do those in a parlay. Straight bet, man. Straight bet.
There's only like 14 fighters in the world in the weight category, isn't there? Like, so one of them is surely going to be fucking worth something. I don't know. Like, but yeah, no, I like Warrington. I like him as a fighter, but I always thought he had a ceiling. And especially in terms of the way he fights, I always thought there was going to be a kind of short shelf life for him. So it remains to be seen after Lara if he still has it. I don't know. It's going to be. I think he's at an advantage because he's fought Kiko before, but they'll be looking to test him now. Like, they'll be looking to make things difficult for him. And Kiko knows he always has that punch, doesn't he? Like, and if this is the end for Kiko Martinez, by the way, a tip of the hat to him for a great career. But I won't write him off just yet.
So do you say Warrington on points? You're thinking?
Yeah, I'm expecting Warrington to win. Yeah.
Andy, what are you thinking on that one? Because this is our other pick of the week there on this one.
Well, again, I just don't know, what Kiko's going to turn up and what he's going to show, what he's got left. I believe it's like one of the kind of Povetkin situations, whereas he's got something about him to make it, just to turn a fight for him, or he's just going to turn up and get the shit beaten out of him, or he's going to show that he's washed and got nothing left. But I expect Warrington to beat him. I think he's probably learnt his lesson a wee bit as well. I don't think it'd be wise for him to kind of fight how he fought Carl Frampton. Like say in the first round, he just swinging shots. He did the same against Lara, and he got fucking clipped and paid for it. So Martinez will need to be respected that because what he did to Galahad, you could say that was down to a poor weight cut or whatever. He needs to be mindful at least. So just stick to his boxing, jab, move, right hands, and then switch it up a wee bit. Other than that, he should be pretty fine. As for the undercard, I'm looking forward to Hughes against Walsh. I really like Walsh actually. One of the L's in his record shouldn't be an L. That loss, I think it was against Dennis Shalin. Should have won that fight. I thought he got hosed on the cards. So certainly that'll be an interesting fight. I think Steve maybe mentioned it. He's an interesting switch hitter. I think he's 2 brothers, and that they're all fighters and that, so they'll be there backing him up. Maxie obviously having a good run of form at this point, so he needs to keep it going. I know it's like the IBO belt, it's on the line for us, so maybe.
Why didn't you mention that, Steve? You're high on the IBO.
I'd just like to see Maxi maybe get an opportunity of some sort up at 135, but obviously with the belts with Cambosis and that, it's going to be hard for him to get that type of opportunity. So this belt is what's kind of like promoting them, shall we say, marketing them as a world champion as such. But I think we all kind of know, after this, we maybe want to see him fight maybe like a world champion possibly. We'll wait and see what happens with the belts, etc. Forget who else is in the card, mate, but that's probably kind of like the main fight I'm looking forward to is Hughes against Walsh. But as for the pick, I'll say Warrington on points against Martinez.
Andy is going Warrington on points. I'm saying screw it. I'm going Warrington by stoppage, even though I think he could be toast after Lara still. I don't know on that one. But yeah, we've got some stuff to watch. Not the greatest week, but I think that the American debut of Tszyu is definitely the highlight. Looking forward to that one. And we'll talk about that next week. But right now, I'm going to send it over to Steve for the Bellew of the week.
I think he's BRB. I think he was going for a slash, mate.
Oh,
So
yep.
he just picked it up at the
Jesus,
worst
God.
possible moment.
Yeah, and I was in my Excel spreadsheet typing that up. Lord, lovely. So yeah, before we get to that,
He's back now. He's back now.
Okay, Steve. Now we'll get.
Yes.
Let me let him get it. No, yes, Steve. You settle in for a moment there.
Before he does, though, mate, did you have to shake it at least before you ask you this question?
Made a right mess.
We'll just take this moment. We're gonna take a 5-second moment of silence for Ian John Lewis and his demotion following his shittiness. All right.
You saved it well, then, Matty. You saved that well.
That wasn't even 5 seconds. Father Dave be with you, you fucking heathen. All right, now to Steve for the value of the week.
Oh, thanks. Right. Value of the week time already. That's okay. We can get stuck in, no problem at all.
I think it's a bit slightly early for me. I'm just after getting on in time for value of the week. Fucking hell, I know I come on late. Jesus Christ.
Rob did the double time on his fucking watch.
I had to look. I was like, what the fuck? I made a time warp. What the fuck is going on here? Holy shit.
You thought you were here for most of the action. No.
Nope.
We went through this one like a motherfucker this week.
Absolutely.
We went through this one like Adrian Broner goes through OnlyFans hose.
Shit.
Yeah, we'll slice through. It's episode 466, looking for something to lead us in. And seeing as Matty just mentioned Father Dave there, what better man to lead us in than the holiness himself?
Here comes Father Dave, led out by Tony O'Loughlin. My goodness, Tony, I've known him since the 80s. God love him. He's been a great trainer in the Sydney region for a long, long time.
The punching priest, Father Dave. Tell you what, isn't that some entrance? He's actually a priest.
Yeah. At the veteran boxes, he always opens up the veteran boxes. The
all right, ladies and
Saturday
gentlemen,
night
let's
with a
introduce you
brand.
to the two.
He's a priest, but he's dressed like a monk. So something's up here, guys. I don't know what it is. Fucking and what's it called? Matty says that Andy Father Davey with you. You're backing up the wrong tree there, Matt.
Calvinist Andy. Well, damn it! At least you would have had an excuse for being who you are.
Brutalmente honesto, Andy.
I wasn't actually fully listening to what you were saying, so I'm just kind of riding along with you, trying to put it
Riding along like this.
It was a very, very deep religious joke. Theologians around the world would giggle like crazy if they knew you.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Religion's not to be laughed at by, it's to be fucking pitied.
Exactly. Shout out to Holt, by the way, who provided us with the thumbnail for this week's episode 466. Old Diamante. Any Diamante updates? Anything, Andy? Do we know? Do we know if he's any better?
I don't know, mate. I really don't know. Stem cells are working a treat, though, I must admit.
I think he has the same doctor as Father Dave, and he came back from a brain tumor, didn't he?
That's right.
Came back from...
someone needs to walk past him actually and just pull up his trouser, like see if he's got any calipers on or anything, or maybe he's got like a fake leg or something.
Someone needs to fucking Photoshop Errol Spence into that as well. Don't they? Dropping the ball on that picture. Like,
Errol Spence kind of like flying through the air with a fucking Lambo flying behind him or something. You know?
I'm kind of surprised that Paul Williams isn't bottom right.
Stop, for fuck's sake.
Ghost Pico Corrales up the corner or something.
Yeah, I just want to say, brutalmente.
Brutalmente, exactly. Brutalmente honesto from Anthony Joshua, who was quizzed here by Vivi. He said, AJ, did you fuck Mrs. Khan back in the day? AJ says, honestly, I didn't. With all the accusations around my name, I wish I did.
Come on, AJ. This is the fucking AJ we wanted from the start. This is who we wanted from the start. Forget being humble, man.
What was he doing last night, though? Flexing like he was standing in the gym or front of a mirror. What was all that about? Just stand
what was last night? What was he doing? Oh, he's at the fucking YouTube fight, was he?
At the UFC.
Oh, he's at the UFC, was he? Yeah, with Paddy the Baddy and the boys.
Yeah.
No, fuck it. This is Joshua off the leash, baby. This is what we want. This is the robot has fucking shed its fucking shell, and AJ is here giving brutal mente honesto every fucking day on Twitter now. I'm all for it, man. Come on, AJ.
Yeah, Amir might not knock that shit out, but he'll probably get the distance more often than not. Whereas
It was Khan that said it.
Yeah. Whereas Joshua,
yeah, what's Khan? The rumors were started by Khan. We have to go back to that.
Well, whereas Joshua, like he'll probably just give you a good first 6 minutes and then peter out.
6 rounds. 6 rounds, you blow a gasket.
Come back into it at 11 o'clock.
Legs are shaky, Adam.
Legs are shaky.
If she wants real loving, she needs to bring in the chubby Mexican guys.
Or Terrell Miller.
He got a lot of cushion for that push.
Who knows what he could be on? Anyway, there you go, AJ.
Definitely tested for fucking Viagra as well, didn't he, big baby? Everything in the system. Fucking give it all to me.
And a low-grade fever tranquilizer.
Talking to theologians, here's the doctor. Washed Bryce has nominated the doctor. He said, Eddie Hearn said Tyson Fury has no power. Gillian White will knock him out. I did not believe what Eddie said because Tyson's boxing skill sets have changed. He got excellent skills and power. If Dillian comes into the ring looking for a knockout, Fury will stop him. Here we are, hot off the press, Rob.
Come on, doctor. I like it. He's got a new insult for Dillian White as well that nobody's thought of until now. Gillian White. Brilliant.
I can see Gillian getting hit with a video of the good doctor showing him how to throw a good left hook on that bag,
Who go down quicker? Gillian White or Gillian Tailforth?
For those folks that
Google that one, Matty.
I will. For those folks that don't get to the video portions of our show, you're really missing out here because the good doctor, if you look at him, he looks like a blend of Ronnie Shields and Desmond Tutu. He's a clearly very wise man.
Well, Matty, anybody who's on our YouTube channel will be able to see the Belly of the Week dropping on a Monday or a Tuesday in full video format, as you will know.
Yes, absolutely. It's always worth that 25 to 40 minutes of your week to watch this in video because the visuals are just as good as the audio on this one, I think.
I know he's a doctor and he's got THC and MMP, whatever you want to call it. You need to get him back on here just so we can fucking laugh at him again. I mean,
MB said he's Halifax Howard meets Marvin Hagler. Oh, fucking hell, man.
He looks a bit like Aaron Pryor a wee bit as well, doesn't he? Fucking bullied.
I'll get the doctor in as soon as I can to give another one of his voicemail sermons.
We need to get a £200 super chat donation to get him on though, mate. Come on.
To get verbally abused by Andy. What the fuck?
I didn't verbally. I laughed at him one day because he came out with a comment. What was it that Joshua, if he stayed humble, he would never stumble. And I went, shut the fuck up. Or something along the lines. I can't remember what I said. I just laughed at him.
Yeah, and if you never rumble, then later in life you won't mumble.
Yeah.
The doctor. Billy Dibb is back in the ring. Cocaine Dawkins informed us of this one. Billy Dibb stays down and milks the DQ. He got wrestled to the floor by his opponent, Jacob something, and that was the end of Billy Dibb.
Got a few quid, I'd say, for that Amir Khan fight, didn't he? If Khan's purse is true, I'd say he's on easy shit.
Was there more than 20 sheiks at that one?
I'm not sure what was going on there, to be honest. Jason Nugg or something he went in against. A 6th round disqualification win for the Dibster.
What was that fight? I never saw that. What was that?
It was in Australia on Wednesday, I think it was.
Oh, right, so it was a pro fight then.
Yeah, well, just about.
Yeah, they brought in a security guard on short notice.
Sam Solomon was fighting the same night, Andy. That tells you all you need to know.
Are you fist fucking me? Is he still fighting?
No, he was.
Did they win at least?
I'm not sure. He was in a different card, I think, though.
I'm going to check this out. I'm going to check this out. I'm saying Sam Solomon.
Solomon, he is 48 now, the king. Yeah, he was fighting against Jesse White on Saturday, and then he's got a fight scheduled in for May as well.
Yeah, I see that. But there's no mention about the result. Tim Boxale should have it, actually.
Tim Boxale was in the chat earlier, so we'll see.
Yeah, I seen that.
Tim Boxale was in the crowd, the Sam Solomon fight.
He won.
God, I
He won
still
on
remember
points.
when Solomon fucked his leg and the fucking zombie of Jermaine Taylor fucking beat him over 12 rounds for a title. That was such a fucking weird fight.
He won the 8-rounder and he became he won the vacant Australia Victoria State middleweight title. There you go.
Vacant one.
Bob Fitzsimmons only wished he could have won that title, man.
He was at school when Solomon started fighting first.
He was at school with Lewis Ortiz, man.
Mike Tyson's weed company is making edibles in the shape of an ear.
We've got to try them.
Mike bites.
Oh, so they hit different. Them.
Do you know how many of my Facebook friends sent me this over the last week?
Holyfield will be raging though, eh? He'd be like, I should have copyrighted that shite before he got a chance. Because he's broke as fuck. And Tyson's just, he said he'd never be wealthy again, but he's doing his best to coin it all back.
He must be worth a few quid, old Mike, I'd say.
Mike enjoys life, man. Like he's smoking fucking toad venom once or twice a day, staying mellow.
Did you see anyone see the clip from his podcast going around with Charlo? No.
Yeah, I'm going to nominate that one for Billy.
Apparently, he had a podcast with Alex Jones.
Did he?
I saw somebody posted a screenshot somewhere, and I haven't even went to search for it yet. If it exists or is going to exist, it's you're driving past a fucking car wreck. You're gonna slow down and you're gonna take a glance. It is what it is.
No way. Toad venom with Alex Jones. Making the frogs gay.
He's probably gonna tell him that he's probably gonna tell him that the elites hijacked his vibration and made him bite Holyfield's ear off. That really wasn't Mike there that night. He was being hijacked by the British royal family, and
no, that's Ike. You're confusing your conspiracy theorists, Matty.
Oh
anyway,
no! I saw David.
No, come on, we're not going down that
Alex Jones.
We're not going down this fucking rabbit hole. Come on.
I used to live down that rabbit hole. It's a weird fucking place, man. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Who are you talking to? I only peeked me head up for Bellew of the Week.
Justin has nominated this one, Gmain07. He said, this is really unfortunate, but the heavyweight division must move on. Boxing needs an active champion. Usyk should be stripped for the time and then belts given back to AJ. And when he's ready, he can request a rematch. Praying for Ukraine.
Fucking wanker.
Jesus Christ.
Give him back
fucking
to AJ.
Wanker.
Michael McAway has nominated Clifton Mitchell. He was having a bit of beef back and forward with Savannah Marshall, I think it was. Another one came in as well from Michael Thompson. Belly of the Week for Mitchell for this troll-like exchange with Cameron. Chantel giving as good as she got. She said, oh, have I hit a nerve? Call me fat all you want, you bitter bastard. You clearly are shit at your job and got to get nasty now. Stick to trying a coach, not abusing women on Twitter. #prick. There you go.
Yeah, don't be fucking abusing the women fighters on Twitter. Come on, the Boxing Asylum away to Bellew of the Week. Then get them.
Talk about their hairline.
Let's reach out to Clifton Mitchell, by the way. Get him on the Bellew of the Week so we can destroy Chantel Cameron. Who was the Twitter? Who was the deleted tweet below? Do you know?
I'm not sure, Andy, to be honest now. Someone getting iced.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't want to tell Clifton to his face. Anyway, Ricky Graville throwing this in from last week. Scott Harrison, thanks and respect for this opportunity, Bieber Boxing, Assassin Boxing Promotion and Management. Value of the Week for the Primark Guard, says Ricky Graville. That's Luca Di Caro, head of Bieber Boxing.
Yeah, I know.
That's the fad, the fake ad.
We could also you could also put Scott Harrison into this as well, because he retired after that fight got postponed. Then he tweeted out it was here last night or a couple of nights ago, and that he was actually he wasn't retiring. He's coming back to boxing. So a Tom Brady-esque type retirement by Scott Harrison there.
Very similar trajectories.
I remember when he got out of prison. What was that, like 12 years ago or so?
What time, mate? He's been in jail before.
I know, but Tommy was so excited and really thought he was going to make a run at the title when he got out. He was like, really
I remember he fought on the Burns Mitchell undercard, I'm sure, and he beat up some jobber for Hungary. I think it might even went the distance. He was in his 40s end, for fuck's sake.
Did you say from Hungary?
Yeah.
Hungary. Paul Raftery. nomination. Owen02_ says to Conor Benn, after you win a world title at welterweight, do you aim to unify more belts or try to rack up defenses with one belt? Paul says Owen contributed this question. His profile describes him as a gamer, so I assume it is serious. Yeah,
That's it. That's like everything boxing maggots pal on Twitter, man. He's up his arse as well. Oh, aye. I've seen him before.
What's he going to do? Unify, maybe go up? Undisputed, possibly?
He needs to win a belt first. Fucking hell, man.
Going straight for unify with Crawford straight away, obviously.
Yeah, I think so, probably. And then once he's got that out of the way, what do you think he should do, Rob?
Probably just fight Spence then. Maybe at 154. Who knows?
Maybe go for a beard implant or something.
Yeah. Right, next one here. Here's Ebbs, Mark Gingle. You are by far one of the nicest and best looking Leeds fans I've ever met, says Mark. He's enjoying his moment there, isn't
probably true.
Well, from what I've seen of Leeds, I don't think that's a stretch.
It's a reservation on the way out of fucking out of nowhere, that fucking place.
He's got a fine rack on her there, old Ebbs. James Becker, 1999. She'd be a flyweight without them, I think, wouldn't she?
Fucking minimum weight. I think she's fighting for a 118 title.
Oh, she's been. I had to tell her to stop it the other day there, actually.
Andy laying down the law. Billy Boxing 2.0 is nominated Boxing Kingdom. Question for all British boxing fans. Anthony Joshua is a two-time heavyweight world champion and former unified heavyweight champion. Is AJ the greatest British heavyweight of all time? Comment below.
Fuck you, you idiot.
That's a
I can't believe it. It's always been like that, man. He's a fucking knob.
Is he even top? Is Joshua even top 10 British heavyweights of all time? But
probably.
He would be top 10.
He would be top 10, aye. But
5?
Wait,
Yeah.
Possibly, aye. I would say maybe top 5.
He's right up
Really?
there.
That's sad.
With Henry Akin one day.
Yeah, you remember Lennox Lewis was the first British heavyweight to win a world heavyweight title since, like, was it Fitzsimmons, Steve? Maybe Rob will know. But
my dad will lay claim that Fitzsimmons is Irish, really, because both of his parents are from Wexford, so that'll be that one out.
Another one is Australian. But you know what I'm saying?
He went to live in New Zealand, didn't he, Fitzsimmons?
I mean, you wouldn't even. It's actually incredible as to how little kind of like heavyweight champions we've actually had.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was shocked that was like the first the Scottish heavyweight title fight in
70 years or something.
AJ would be right up there, man. I think we're pushing him up towards 2 or 3 here.
Well, it's not like you guys are lacking in fat fucks in Scotland. Like how has this title remained vacant that long? It's so fucking ridiculous.
You tell you what, man, you talk about fat fucks in Scotland. We're fucking America, man. It's most of the beast country in the fucking planet.
We have heavyweight champions.
Like Sloth Mitchell.
No, not him, but a lot of other ones. We've had many heavyweight champions. Some of them skinnier than others. How many Scottish heavyweight champions have there been?
None of them. They've even had a British champion with Scotland.
Gary Cornish was close under.
Gary Cornish. Can he start with kicking Gary Cornish, man? He needs to get back on the day job.
Yeah. How many Scottish men over 200 pounds have been in fist fights? I rest my case.
Tommy against Welsh Lou.
Tommy top 10.
Tommy needs to get serious, man, and start making a legit challenge for that Scottish title, and then we can start talking about check hooks.
Check hook boxing. AJ's making announcements in pidgin English. Announcement soon come. David Grice says, is Isaac Lowe AJ's new social media post writer?
Soon come is West Indian slang, but why AJ saying it, I don't know, because he's Nigerian, isn't he? Like, so I don't know. He's a bit of cultural appropriation there from AJ. He has an announcement coming soon anyway, so you know, on the edge of your seats. These announcements are coming thick and fast from AJ. He's announcing that he has an announcement coming soon every 2 weeks for the last 6 months, and nobody's none the fucking wiser as to what the fucking announcement's going to be, who he's going to fight, who his trainer is, who his new team is. What is the announcement, AJ?
Who was the rumor for the opponent again? Was it Wallin?
Wallin?
It was Eddie said this in classic Eddie style, even Ed. Eddie said he wants Wilder. AJ wants Wilder. He's open to fighting Joe Joyce, but we're also looking at opponents like Otto Wallin. So you know which one it's going to be, don't you?
Yeah. Fucking, old bait and switch.
Joe Joyce is fucking... How long has he been inactive for now? Jesus fuck.
Dubois was his last fight, was it?
It was 2020, wasn't it?
Oh, he had a fight after that.
Has he?
I'm sure he has.
Did he not fight that Valish? When was that? That big
So
no hoper.
That was earlier in his career, I think.
Was that before? Was that before?
He fought. Who the fuck? I'm sure he fought recently.
Yeah, I think he's been sitting on the shelf while fucking
Oh,
Dubois
Takam,
is.
Carlos Takam.
Who it was?
Yeah, I forgot about that. He stopped him in Wembley in
Last
July
July, it was
21. Oh, he's not been that inactive then.
Okay.
Comparatively, nearly a year. Sure, that's standard, isn't it, these
Standard
days?
practice these days, mate. It's the usual, method of operating these days.
He's sitting on that mandatory, isn't he? Yeah, position. He's going to
talking about Joe
He'll be
Parker
45
here.
years of age by the time he gets his chance. Like,
I'll tell you what, Rob, he's a big old unit, man. I think he'd be a handful for anybody, Joyce, with his engine and his size.
I'd favour Joyce versus AJ if they make that fight now.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I'd favour Joyce.
He
Because AJ's not going to knock him out, is he?
No.
He basically stuffed Dubois with a jab like that. I mean, that was what the story of the fight was. Like that jab fucking.
I've warmed to Joyce, man. He's a big old lump, and he seems nice enough, fella.
That fight goes past 6 rounds. I think it's really tasty for me.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway,
Joyce.
Announcement soon come.
There's some extra content for y'all.
What?
No, I'm saying that. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, here we are.
Page, yeah.
Sean Stevo's nominated Anthony Fowler. Not a cafe in the world, this lad. Another one who's been having Isaac Lowe making the post, I think, over on Instagram. I think he means not a care in the world. We'll let him off with that one. Billy Boxing 2.0 for the state of them tattoos. Who's he referring to? Prograis, McKenna, both of them, perhaps.
Worst double display of tattoos since fucking Gervonta and Mario Barrios fought last year.
The crackheads.
They looked awful. Remember that? Jesus Christ.
Does McKenna have a mullet?
Oh, he has a tash and all, McKenna, doesn't he? He's a character.
Oh,
was that right? You saying that he could have been an actor or something? Did I hear that right?
Quite possibly. He does those little videos, doesn't he, all the time?
Well, he certainly couldn't be a contender.
Charlie, I'm a contender, Charlie.
What are we on to now? Last few here. Joe Kennedy. I haven't seen him in the chat tonight. Hope you're well, Joe. He's nominated Fernando Vargas. Fernando Vargas said it's no surprise his kids are good fighters because they both came from the Royal Nutsack. His wife and kids nodded and seemed to be okay with his plan to put that phrase on T-shirts. Kate Abdo approves, says Joe.
She knows her sperm, that lass.
Oh my God.
Some size, old Fernando, man. One of my favourite fighters of all time. He was a warrior, but he's fairly piled on the weight. I suppose he did towards the end of his career, didn't he? Didn't he fight Mayorga at super middleweight or something ridiculous?
I remember that Oscar fight was like that was like must watch at the time, wasn't it?
Oscar was rough and tough that night, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That was one of Oscar's biggest wins, really, when you think about it, wasn't it?
That was one of the ones you knew when someone was ever getting under Oscar's skin that they were going to fucking get it in fighting him with Mayorga. Like, you just knew they were going to get it.
Yeah, that was good. I liked the shit talk between Vargas and Mayorga before their fight was great. That was when he
kicked off, didn't they?
Yeah, he told Vargas that his face looked like his son's ass.
Yes, Ricardo. That's what you need more of that, don't you? Need more of that. It's all sanitized these days. You need a fucking bit of Ricardo Mayorga. Fucking fellas that have machetes and smoke fags at the way in and all. You need that.
Well, that's why like subtitles are great, and and they're so important. But some of these translations are really loose, especially when it comes to Spanish. The dialects are very different from country to country, but nonetheless, Mayorga, man, you talk about worth his weight in gold for shit talk.
Class trash talker. What did he say to Oscar? Your wife won't be able to look at you when you won't be able to screw her in the morning.
He said something about Vargas' wife too, because that's why Vargas kicked off and threw the table at him, and he started going, "You're disrespecting my queen." I'm sure he said something like that. So
he slapped Mosley's girlfriend on the ass.
That was a setup. That was a setup.
Vargas on a bit of form as well. They asked him about Canelo's opponent Bivol. They said, "Do you think Dimitri Bivol has a chance of beating Canelo?" And he said, "I don't even know that vato."
Vargas, quality character. Final few here from me. The Motor City Cobra nominating Carl Froch. Fucking hell, you've topped my Jermaine Taylor comeback. Carl Froch visits Lee Wood post-fight. Even at the highest point of Wood's boxing career, Froch brings it back to himself, obviously.
Wouldn't be like him to draw parallels with his own career when making a fucking fight deduction with his Carl Froch. Fucking sake, man. Unbelievable. Look, he looks like he's saying in that picture, he looks like he's saying, "So I've told him I've only had fucking battered onion rings. No way am I paying going in on this fucking bill. I only had some onion rings.
You probably give him some tips on how to fly fucking commercial.
Yeah. Get a fucking Ryanair, man. I'm telling you.
How did you buy?
Aye.
Barry Smith. I thought this was Lee Wiley all the time in the corner. Another fat cornerman. Big fan of the fat cornerman myself. Barry Smith. Ben Davidson should be knighted, says Barry Smith. Lee Wood's coach. Brooked them up. No consent heard.
In what country?
And I'd say Ben was fucking saying, no, man, no. Just not a fucking, give me an MBE. I'll be happy with that. So what it was, or an OBE, or whatever was the fuck.
OBE or CBE. CBD. CBD. What have we got here then? So Ted Barrett sent me this one in. Tommy Fury talking about percentages. This is an interesting listen.
Well, that of course, and after that, let's get in the ring. Let's do it.
What percentage would you say? 80%, 50%? What's the likelihood of it happening in percentage-wise?
Percents? I don't know. I didn't do very well in school. I'm not very clever in that sense. Percentage-wise, I don't know. Probably 0.09? No, I don't know. It's a good percentage, I think, because he's got no one else to fight. I've said time and time again, I'm the biggest fight out there for him, but if it comes, it comes.
So 0.09%.
See, tough negotiator, Tommy Fury.
What the fuck was that?
Tommy
80-20s out
Tommy,
the window.
Tommy TNT Fury stands for Tough Negotiation Team.
That's, I think, all the ones that I have. Yep, it is indeed. Any from you this week, Andy?
I think I might have sent you one in the other on, mate. I'm just trying to find it again, but I can't find it just now.
I got sent loads this week.
Yeah, got a couple. Obviously, people would have noticed that a certain Mr. Azad, the Syrian president, was in Dubai this weekend. Face-to-face meetings.
Great bunch of lads.
Yep, great bunch of lads. Wonder who else you could be meeting. Daniel Kinahan getting outed by some sort of Pakistani MP as well, I think. A bit of banter,
Great lad.
No, great lad.
The MP, by the way.
Just talk.
What's your problem, Andy?
What's your problem, man? Just to stay on the Dubai theme, actually, Jim White blagging that shit, man, wasn't he? Blagging it, and that fucking. He was like talking to the guy, and then he would like break away and like look at the camera and just smile. I'm like, what are you smiling at the camera for, you prick? I actually wanted to reach through and just with a yellow tie on my hand and just wrap it around his neck and hang him for the rafters, by the way, because he was doing my nutting. Absolute fucking pain in the studs, that guy. Obviously staying on Dubai, fucking lack of fans in the stadium, and every time I see Tricky Dicky Schaefer, I always get the same fucking thought. I say to myself, that guy's a fucking serpent. He's just got sleaze written all over him, by the way. I just don't like that guy. If we mix listening, he knows what I'm talking about.
And did you remember when I quizzed him on shafting Oscar and he slipped and he slid out?
Oh, he knows how to do it.
There was no funny business, no monkey business or something he says with me. So.
Me, Mick are in the bar in Belfast, and we're getting there. He was promised us a fucking pint, and he still belched on it, the fucking prick. So as I says, he slipped and he slid, and he's like a fucking serpent. He got slithered right out of there. Absolutely
he Floyd Mayweather over that top rope, didn't he, out over the bar. Shoulder rolled that round out again.
Yeah.
How do you know that shafting Oscar wasn't consensual?
I will suppose.
He probably saw the writing on the wall with Oscar, to be fair. He probably would have ditched him back in them days.
Oscar was after doing the writing on the wall with lipstick.
Poor Oscar didn't know where he was for about 5 years, so maybe we would not blame Schaefer too quickly.
He was going through a rough and tough time in his life.
I've got one for Fat Joe. It was on Fight Hype. I think he was at the Berlanga fight last night, and he's walking out, and he was talking about Rolls fighting Triple H rather than Triple G. So obviously Fat Joe knows his boxing,
Fat Joe actually famously had a line in his song on the New York song where he said even Roy Jones was forced to lean back, referred to his own song Lean Back, which was a smash, but talking about Jones getting knocked out by Tarver as well. But Jones confronted him about it in a nightclub. was like, hey, what the fuck are you saying about me getting lead back now? Like, and Fat Joe had to say to him, look, I know, like, you're Roy Jones, like, so if we fight, you're going to kill me, but you're not going to get out of here. I'm here with 200 fellas in the Bronx, so I'm just telling you, you won't leave. So they settled things amicably anyway in the end.
There you go, 200 folks. Imagine poor Roy getting ripped to fucking limbs straight to red, man.
Oh, man, it wouldn't have been nice. It would have probably been a better end for Roy's career, to be honest with you, than the second half that we had to enjoy.
Getting knocked out by Enzo.
Would have been far more merciful than having Steve Smoger looking over it.
You dead, man. You want to continue. And the last one for me, Steve, I dare say it'll probably segue to bring Rob in as well, but I caught the clip. I'm going to watch the interview later on this week, actually, but Charlo crying to Mike Tyson, for example, you know, I've been calling Canelo out for years now, right? And fucking, he's just basically sitting there. Tyson just turns to him and says, well, you know, fight the next best guy. It's that simple, really, isn't it? So really, just step up and fight the next best guy. But who's he fighting next? I forget who he's fighting next.
Selecki.
Selecki, there we go. Selecki. The next best guy is Selecki, man. Fucking, there we go. Mike Tyson for fucking putting on Charlo. You can see his face just slightly drop a wee bit. I thought he took the... Well, they're obviously they're emotional, personal guys, so I think he kind of took it a wee bit kind of personal when Mike fucking says to him.
Yeah,
So
Mike was like,
you got to call him out, dude. You got to look for the fight. You got to go like Roberto Duran. You got to grab your balls and go, suck this.
So, man, that's all I've got, Steve, so I...
Brilliant stuff, Andy. Thank you very much indeed. Matty, anything from you?
Steve, Liam Wynn sent a message in, and he wanted to nominate the ring announcer from the Thor Borns and Eddie Hall fight for looking like he was from the Matrix.
What the fuck was that, by the way? I'm out of touch or whatever. Who the fuck out of two of them? One of them's a strong man. Is he the strongest man in the world? What are they fighting? Like, what? Are they YouTubers or something?
No, they're legit world champions, mate. They're legit world champions, honestly, at their respective sports, like.
Yeah. So
apparently, it was better than most Triller fights.
Mate, listen, I seen it, and it was. Remember the Scottish heavyweight title fight, mate? How shite was that? Well, this was far better than that. Honestly, mate, it was far better. There were knockdowns. There was actually a wee bit of technique involved. Oh, Steve, sorry, I have got one more actually. Ooh. Fraser Clark for digging out Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn obviously had a photo team with Joshua, Dana White, and Del Boy Chisora with Fraser Clark on the end, but Eddie Hearn's cropped fucking Fraser Clark out because he's with Sky. Mm-hmm. Fraser Clark got a picture of the forum together, but superimposed Ben Shalom's face with Eddie Hearn's. So Fraser Clark for bodying Eddie Hearn. That was fucking
that's
brilliant.
A good one. Oh, we should have seen that. That's a good one. Matty, you threw yours in, didn't you?
And so that one from Liam Wim, and my nomination myself on that is I got to stick it, like I mentioned earlier. What the WBO did with their rankings, moving Catterall down, is like the absolute fucking dick move. So I got to nominate the WBO for their fuckery at 140 pounds.
Always happy to nominate them. Any from you, Rob?
What?
You there, Rob?
You hear me?
There you are.
I can now, yep.
Sorry, I was talking away there. I was going to say top quality shithousery from Josh Taylor in the aftermath of that when he put it on his Instagram and said, wait till they call the police over the WBO. I thought that was pretty good. Like, even though he clearly lost the fight, he hasn't lost his edge. Josh Taylor thought that was...
It's a bit of a shithouse thing today because can't never phone the cops.
Oh, it was quality shithousery, it was, man. That's absolute fucking brutal mente on Esto there from Josh Taylor. A lot of people fucking took it, got annoyed by it, but it's Josh Taylor. You know, what do you expect him to say when he sees that? Like, then as well, there was the Tyson and Charlo one was pretty good, and then Frank has been on unbelievable form. By the way, I wonder is he listening because he's making a lot of references to DAZN being an app these days in his interviews. He's fucking quality, man. But he said. He responded to, AJ put out the footage, didn't he, of him sparring Joe Joyce and getting the better of him. And Frank said, why don't you put out the fucking Dubois footage? I would like to see the Dubois footage with a nice quality shoulder roll thrown in there. So, had, of course, called Frank Smith a little fat geezer. He said he's put out sparring footage, Eddie. Sparring that little fat geezer. So he's fat shaming Frank Smith as well, which is no, we wouldn't do that on the pod, of course.
No.
But yeah, good from Frank this week. Evening, Ed.
Evening, Ed. Yeah, here it is, Andy. That's that's some good work there.
He's much better looking than Salam. He looks much better in that photo, like. Eddie fucking dressed like. Why is he dressed like fucking Fonzarelli as well? By the way, what the fuck does he think he is? What is going on with him? You're 42 years of age, man. Relax with you. Hey.
Look at Joshua flexing
because he's jumped the shark.
And fucking Dana White's for all the money that Dana White's got, man, he's investing in a fucking neck.
Well, that's Dana White. I thought that was Alan Brazil.
Worst Happy Days remake of all time.
Alan Brazil still hung over for the fucking Cheltenham Festival, man.
Fucking Ali McCosh riding him over the hurdles.
That's good work there from Fraser Clark there on Ben Shalom. Botox Lego $6 in training. Who are you going for then, Andy, this week? Episode 466.
I'm going for Clark for bodying Eddie Hearn, man. That was fucking glorious. You know, I remember something similar happened to Chris Eubank Jr. by David Hay picture. Some fucking dude, cropped him out the picture and he was raging about it. So yeah, I'm going for that one. Fucking quality retort there by Clark.
That's a good late entry. I'm going for that one as well, actually. It's always good to see Eddie getting bodied, Matty. You've already thrown yours in. Refresh my memory.
I threw in the WBO rankings of 140.
And is that what you're going
for?
for?
No. I'm with Andy
Ooh.
on that one. That was quality. That was quality from Mr. Clark.
There we are. It's the Holy Trinity. Your vote matters little, Rob, but throw it in anyway for good measure.
Yeah, it's gotta be that one, isn't it? Ben Salam, a great looking young hungry promoter who's on satellite television. What a guy. He looks much better in the photo, guys. Look at it is what it is. Come see me.
Yeah, see, Ed, Ben's now got to the point of having to inject some Botox into him and get the plugs sorted out and all that type of schnaz.
Wouldn't do it. He'd just grow old gracefully, wouldn't he, Ben?
Yeah, he would. He wouldn't go for any of that shit.
Congratulations.
As Adam Smith says that, he's like my younger brother sometimes. Sometimes he makes me feel like he's like my son, for example.
We'll never forget.
Even Ed.
Well done, Eddie. It's been a while, but you are the boy of the week for episode 466. That's all the ones I've got, Matty. Back over to you.
Get alive, for fuck's sake. Popping himself back in the photo.
He's as nutter as the best of them, isn't he? I tell you. It's been a little bit of a dull week, but April is looking hot. The PVC schedule is looking hot. And I should have brought that out this week, but we can do that next week. I had a great time with the panelists here. Like to thank Andy, Steve, and Rob for joining us for this week. Next week for 467, Steve will be back in the hot seat. And until then, y'all enjoy all the boxing action. The U.S. debut of Tszyu is coming our way, and that is enough to get excited for this guy. Y'all have yourselves a great week ahead. Bye-bye.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to and move!
We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep.
You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Rumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7-year ain't. I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love boxing sounds. As simple as that.